Mark Riley from Network 7.
Treasurer, thanks for your address. Today and in your interviews yesterday, many times you said that this budget is about building up Medicare and the election campaign will be about protecting Medicare. And there's a lot of money in there for Medicare, bulk billing and urgent care clinics and also the price of medicines. But I want to ask you about the biggest omission in Medicare since its inception. That's still an omission, and that's dental care. That can be absolutely life-changing for people who cannot afford to go and see a dentist, low-paid Australians, elderly Australians. It can literally keep them alive. I'm wondering if Labor will at least start a conversation to have some level of care covered by Medicare so Australians can get their teeth fixed.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. I mean, I think this is a crucial question. You know, how do we continue to strengthen Medicare to make sure that it's responsible and it's affordable and sustainable, but also make sure that it's delivering the kind of care that people need? And obviously, you know, very good people, including people in the room today I can see around this hall, have suggested to us and lobbied for us and advocated for us to do that. And the answer to that question is the same answer to the question about a lot of things that we would love to do. We've got to make sure that we can afford it and make sure that there's room for it in the budget. In this budget, the big priority is incentivising more bulk billing and women's health. But that's not to say that in some future budget under a government of either political persuasion that we might be able to find room for this. I know from my own community that dental health has a direct link to health more broadly in the same way that mental health does. And you know, any good government from budget to budget will try and work out if they can do more.
Next question, Phil Curry from the AFR.
Thank you, Tom. Treasurer. Can I just sort of question you on your view about the budget bottom line improving since you're elected, and you often go back to the anchor point, which is the Treasury assessment known as PFO, released during the campaign. So if we go back to the 22 campaign where Labor was elected, Treasury, probably a little bit spooked by events in Ukraine and COVID, forecast a deficit that year of $79.8 billion. The actual deficit that year turned out to only be 31.9. Which was 1.4% of GDP. Last night you forecast a deficit for next year of 42 billion, which is 1.5% of GDP. Isn't it the case from then to now the bottom line is worsening?
It's the case that on the 7 years that we've been responsible for, there's been the biggest ever nominal improvement in the budget we've ever seen, $207 billion. And that's partly because we turned two of those big deficits into two surpluses, and we shrunk the deficit this year. And we've shown in all four of our budgets an element of restraint when it comes to real spending growth and banking upward revision to revenue and finding $95 billion worth of savings. Now, obviously, I read what you wrote the other day about the anchor point that we've chosen. I don't think that there is a different, more rational anchor point to choose than the assessment of the books when we came to office. Put together by non-political, professional forecasters in the Treasury and in the Finance Department. And I know that there's an appetite, I'm not accusing you of this, Phil, but certainly our political opponents, there's an appetite to try and rewrite that time. You know, they try and pretend away the fact that spending as a share of the economy was up near a third of the economy, we got it down closer to a quarter of the economy. That's progress. And I know that all of these questions come from a good place, and the good place that all of these questions come from is recognition that Katie and I share, and our whole Cabinet, our Expenditure Review Committee, and understanding that we share, that even with all of the progress we've made, cleaning up the mess that we found in the budget, we do acknowledge that there's more work to do. You know, in every budget there's been savings, in every budget there's been an element of restraint. It goes back to Mark's question. Every minister in this room has come to us with more good ideas that we can fund, but we've tried to be as responsible as we can, and as a consequence of that, we've made more progress in a single parliamentary term improving the budget than any government ever has.